All right, guys, I'm going to be testing the microphone. Just want to make sure it sounds good. Damn, it's been so long since I was been able to say that. But here we are again, still, guys. I gotta get change this damn chair. I'm definitely getting that chair, bro. If I get that kind of chair, even if I have to be here in the heat, I'll be somewhat more comfortable. Like the heat's like one thing, but at the very least, with a comfortable chair, I can like sit here for as long as I need it to be, and then still use that same chair when I need to work from home and still do that. So that'd be something we could do. But yeah, guys, I haven't really messed around or touched my settings since then. I mean, everything is good because I always kind of tend to kind of make sure that I'm ready. Like, it's like imagine like a long ass standby, like the longest standby you can ever think of. Like everything you have is ready, but you're not like going and doing it. That's if that makes sense. So yeah, that's currently what I'm doing. Like honestly, like right now, I think my number one problem, and this is where it kind of got me a little bit because me not streaming for the last couple months kind of put me in a really bad place, like mentally, like everything was like I feel like it was crumbling around me. Like the one thing that made me happy I wasn't doing. I was in a place I didn't want to be. And didn't have anybody really to talk to about what was going on really because like let's just say the people around me isn't necessarily they don't really understand, and it's hard to kind of talk about that. So it kind of really put me in a really tough spot as far as like rebounding, regaining, wherever you want to call it. Like, right? So we rebound. We'll call it rebounding just to kind of make sense. Where makes it. We're gonna say I mean, you know what? We're gonna say regain. We regain, right? So we like bouncing back. So like over time, I think what I realized is that I think a lot of things, but like and it's kind of crazy because like it really took me getting to that really bad spot, like really, really bad, to like realize that nothing's gonna change unless I like get up and like actually like change it myself. Like, because I felt like at some level at my like in my inner core, like I was thinking like I was gonna get some sort of help, or maybe something was gonna happen, or something like the universe was gonna something was gonna happen that will maybe like snap me back to like my senses, but it's like nothing really happened. And then the longer time passed, like the longer weeks, like days would go by, weeks would go by, and then months, and then I just get worse and worse. And then I just realized, I think, like I said, it took a lot. Like I said, like it took really to get to like the worst place you can probably possibly think of to really like unlock. We'll say the answer. The answer was so supposedly like when something bad like that happens, you tend to try to find an answer. You wait for an answer to come to you. So really, what happened was like over time, the answer didn't come to me, but I had to necessarily have to make an answer that made sense. So in a way, the answer did come, but instead of having it come to you, you made the answer, if that makes sense. So it's like supposedly what I did was basically or came to the conclusion like a lot of what I was like going through like was affecting a lot of areas like I didn't want it to be like it was affecting my passion for streaming, not just streaming in general. Like honestly, like what I really want to achieve is having a personal brand, like a big, like the biggest it can ever be, right? So that can be, I could take in a lot of forms. That could be your own business, that can be retail, that can be your clothing brand, that can be your the cookies that you make. That's your brand, like your cookies, like any that could be anything. But in my case, since we're gonna make it a little bit easier here, it's gonna be gaming, right? So streaming, even competing. I guess I think no matter what, I'll always be a competitor at heart. So I'll naturally love competing. Um, Creating content, whether it's talking about content, creating it, things like that. Like as time goes by, I was like, I think I'll never really get tired of that because the just that. feeling of really just how amazing it is to create something that's yours, and then always have it there, like, and no one can ever say that they created it, regardless of whether it's big or small. You created it, so it's like no one can ever take that away from you. And I think, like I said, over time, I really kind of came to that realization, like when, like I would like people would like, let's say for example, people would look at their YouTube channels or Twitch channels, streaming channels, whatever, and automatically compare themselves to like other people, and then not to saying that I was going through that, but it was common, like at some point where you kind of start to question, like, is it really worth it? Like, is growth like, because like it starts to become more like a numbers game. You start to think about numbers. You start to think about, I don't have this amount of numbers. I'm not doing this. Why am I still streaming? Like, you start to like lose the interest. I'm not saying that happened in this case. For me, it was more like I would set expectations for myself, and then when I didn't meet them, I brought myself down, like really, really down. So it could be the littlest thing. It could be like, okay, you haven't streamed in 2.5 months. Tomorrow, you're gonna get your ass up. You're gonna work. You're gonna come back. No matter how you feel, whether you are tired, whether you had no sleep, or you're hungry as hell, you're at least gonna turn on your damn streaming software, like right now, right here, and you're gonna stream for at least 30 minutes to an hour. At least. That's it. Now, before that, well, that's actually, I kind of spoiled it. That's like the conclusion I made up right now that works, but it's not permanent. So this is what I'm thinking. So before, I would say I would at least minimum would want to stream 3 hours, right? 3 or 4 hours. That you can probably say that's doable, somewhat doable, right? 3 or 4 hours. But for the most part, when I wouldn't even stream at all, and then think to myself like, you literally just sat in your setup or in your room, whatever the case is, for 3 or more hours doing nothing, and you're talking about you want to stream at least 3 hours. Like, that's what I mean. Like, you start to like get in like in your own head, and then you start to think, and it's not good thoughts. It's like bad, and it gets worse, and it gets worse, and it gets worse. And then over time, it became a bad habit of mine to keep doing that, keep setting an expectation to do something, not doing it, and then just beat myself over it. And then it's like, again, I didn't have like that kind of support to talk about it, because no one like that I know or friend wise, like at least where I live at here, doesn't really, and like they go through that as far as like gaming or whatever the case is. Now it can apply to real life. I mean, it can apply to somebody that has a passion for like, I don't know, like what their current career is. Like they may set out to do something, or it could be someone that wanted to work out and they didn't work out, for at least 30 minutes, or they didn't walk, to start to progress, things like that. It can apply to real life, but like basically overall, like, because I don't want to kind of explain too much, kind of what I was kind of going into as far as like my reasoning and not for streaming. Basically, to kind of sum it up, sum all of it up very easily, is I was in my own head. Like, I was like in a box. I made a cage inside my own head and kept myself in it. Not even realizing I was keeping myself in it, because I would literally just think about the tiniest excuses, like little things. Like, I would put expectations, failures, like all this, essentially keeping myself in that one box in my own head. But over time, the longer I stayed in that box, that's when I started really thinking like, you can literally choose to stay in this damn box and just watch your life just go to pieces and not do anything about it, or you can stop yourself, literally just stop yourself, get yourself out that box and tell yourself, you, with your own two hands, like again, with your own two hands, if you apply yourself, like, you can literally do whatever the fuck you want to do. It sounds cliche, sounds whatever the case is, but like, it sounds cliche, but like if you really, really think about it, mind you, I was like in a bundle. Probably the one of those places you can buy everyone I want to be. I don't want to mention it too much, but I kind of want to give you as a perspective, like kind of where I was thinking at the beginning, or most recently, not now, but recently. So like, it all starts with a choice. Like you need like, and I'm not just talking about like a choice you make like now or the next minute. I mean like deep down in your core, or when your back's against the wall, and then you have to make a choice. Like that moment. And I feel like at some point everybody goes through this at least once, right? So it could be the moment where you're about to get a divorce, or it looks like it's about to be one, or you're about to lose your career, like a good like a well, not gonna say a job, but like a good career job, like you're about to lose a career, or you make a decision maybe like a career choice, right? So something where like nothing will change based on you debating or thinking about it or sitting on the sidelines and watch it happen unfold right in front of you. Because if you do it that way, it just gets worse. And then you really, really like, you can talk about like regret, like, being like despising yourself. Like that kind of feeling sucks. And going in that place kind of really, really like, I mean, like it's really bad. So like what it comes down to is that choice when your back's against the wall, you deciding in that moment, like I said, are you gonna watch it play out and get worse and not be able to fix it at all, or are you gonna actually fix it with your own two hands? You personally, no one else. You not you asking somebody else for help, not you, like expecting someone else to fix your mistakes or blaming someone else to kind of make yourself feel better. Like no, that's you deciding in within your very core, deciding, you know what? I don't give a fuck where I'm at right now. I need to turn it around because it's not gonna change. I can literally is nothing is gonna come me sitting here like debating and crying about like how things like now are not gonna change, or like that kind of thing is not gonna work. You have to like in that moment decide. And I feel like I heard about like the phrase, someone mentioned a phrase where it all comes down to that moment where you just like decide like this is what you want to do, and then this is how you're gonna do it. Because then what happens is two things. One, you have a direction. You have some sort of an idea, or not even an idea. You have literally a roadmap of what you want to do and how you're going to do it. Simple as that. Now, the mistake I made there when I originally came up with that idea was setting too high expectations. For example, since I've been streaming recently for a while, I made it kind of a bad habit to expect to stream like I was before, like 3, 4, 5+ hours a day, sometimes less, some days, but I never kind of beat myself up because I was still in that consistent kind of schedule of streaming, right? So not doing that while I was here kind of really put me in a weird spot, because then I started debating, like I even got to the point where I was even questioning, like, do I even like playing video games anymore? Like, do I even like want to do this anymore? Like, do I just hang it up? Like, it got to that, and I'm like, mind you, if you asked me about that, like, if you ever told me at any point, like, are you ever gonna get tired of like playing video games, or are you ever gonna not want to stream? I'm like, I would have told you, or I would literally bet my life, like, mind you, even to this moment, like right now, like if you told me that right now, I would tell you, like, I'm never, I wouldn't even think about it. And look what happened. It took literally everything. Like I'm talking about years after years of just a combination of a lot of negative things that just led me to that really bad time, essentially. Like for me to realize that. So it's like I had to take like a moment because I'm trying to like process what I'm thinking into like words. So like it was a lot. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like, that's why the number one thing I wanted to do was to make sure like I was good here before I even like wanted to stream, because the last thing I wanted to do was turn on the camera. Like, I mean, I could have easily done this, just could have done that and just stream if I really wanted to. But that's not me. Like, I can't do that. Like, I have to be right here, like showing you guys. Like, it's like my thing is my brand. I want it to represent like start to finish my journey, like a journey. I wanted it to be a journey from like, and it can, like I said, in the journey, things can change. Like goals change, aspirations change, your role, like people you look up to change, your priorities change. But the one thing I would never want to change is the end goal. And but what I mean by that is not necessarily like, because you can have multiple goals. I'm just mean like the end goal for me will always stay the same, because regardless of how you get to that point, whether it's through different goals, that end goal is always going to be like your North Star. So, like something that you can think that you're working towards. And for me, it's achieving like that financial freedom while doing something I love, which is in this case, working on my brand, right? Streaming, playing video games is the thing I enjoy the most. Even to this day, I still enjoy it. Like, even through this, it's funny because of the entire time that I was like in that dark time, like just really going through the motions. I'm gonna say going through the motions because that's really what it was. It was literally going through the motions as time went by. Like, I always thought about streaming. I always thought about what game I wanted to play. I would sit here literally sometimes like just like this and not even going live. Like, this would just say go live and just sit and just look at the screen and not go live and just debate and think. Like, mind you, when you start thinking a lot and you're stuck in your own head, like you're literally like, again, you're making your own cage in your box. Like, you're making a box. I just say you're making a cage in your box. Okay, no, you're making a cage inside your head and you're keeping yourself in it. And you're not even realizing this. You're thinking like, oh man, no, I'm actually thinking things through. Like, no, because most of the time you have a good idea of what you should be doing, but then you start to kind of really stop yourself and then you think. So you keep yourself there. And then when you don't do anything, that's when you really start to beat yourself up. Because then you start thinking, oh, and then you start to question your doubt yourself. Like, doubting yourself, bad. That's really bad elements. Like, it's not a good recipe. Like, that's just, you're literally just asking for like yourself to fail. But it's about, so we did about 17 minutes. Like, basically, okay, I'm not gonna like go too much into it, but you guys at least know like it was a lot. It was like a lot of build up for the last couple months, because the last stream I really did was on New Year's this year, and I think maybe like a couple weeks after that. So literally the last 3 months, I only streamed twice, just to kind of give you guys perspective. Like, I didn't do anything. I like, even off stream, I barely played like video games at all, because I wanted to kind of make sure that I was tackling the issue at hand so it wouldn't become a problem going forward. Because if I didn't handle the issue, I wouldn't be able to move forward. Like, I can't, because it's always going to be there, which is why I didn't stream. But now, what I can promise for you guys, and I promised myself as well, that regardless of how I felt, circumstance, environment, wherever you, like all the elements that are kind of affecting how you feel in general in life, right? No matter what happens, I was always going to be focused on what I need to be doing versus what's going on around me. Because when you focus more on the bad, you tend to lose focus on the purpose, like the journey, like why you're doing it in the first place, things like that. So, I don't know. I feel like, you know what? It's kind of funny. Like, I'm actually thinking about like debating. I might actually upload this and just, I'm just gonna say my thoughts. Like, I don't know. This is literally just off the dome. Like, it's not even scripted. Like, I can literally upload this from like start to finish. You guys will see it's not even like me scripting anything. It's literally just sitting here just talking like what's in my head. Like, and it's kind of funny because some like what separates a good streamer from a bad streamer, and like people that can create content like for on the fly. Like if you can do that and talk to people like on the fly and like not have to like sit there and watch your video 40 times and then edit the good parts, the bad parts, and then yeah, it's like, but like when it's live like this, and then you just say, you know what, it's the first take, people are going to watch that exact tape because that's all natural, raw. That's literally the first thing that comes to mind. But then the more time you give it, then you start to kind of debate. You start to doubt your your first kind of primary like primary thoughts, and then you start to kind of say is start to come up with other choices or other things that you thought about that weren't the same as the original, things like that. I don't know. I might keep this. Maybe upload it. I was maybe, or I don't know, do like maybe a diary kind of and like entries. Like I could do a diary entry one. Like literally, that actually would be a pretty interesting idea. Actually, I think I might do that and just upload it like this weekend. Do like an unedited. I want to kind of do this. I don't want to edit none of it. Like I want to literally. I'll probably this will be like my background because I want you guys. I want to give you guys more perspective of like what I'm seeing. Literally, this is what I'm seeing right now in front of me is the streaming software and me talking into. I'm not talking into the camera because realistically, when I'm streaming, I'll be like, I may have sometimes like did this, looked in the camera, look here, like because for the most part when you're streaming, you're looking at your primary monitor, which is here, which is me, it's right in front of me, but the camera's right there. And sometimes like if I'm talking to somebody, I'll do, I look in the camera, I'll talk, normally. And then I have to look back here because you're gaming. You're not gonna game like this, and then the monitor is like right next to me, right there, and I can't see anything. So it's like, you know. But that's a good idea. I think I might end up doing that. Um, do like a diary entry series, or at the very least, I would probably maybe do just one video and see specifically like if people like hearing about specifically what was going on. But I don't know. I think I really want to kind of put it because one, it answers a lot of questions like where I've been, where my mind was at, most recently, and now where it's at now. But yeah, I think that's literally like, and this, like I said, this is why I kind of want to upload things like this because me think about uploading diary entries and naming it like that on my YouTube channel. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody really do that, or at least that I'm aware of. I'm not really sure if people actually do that, but yeah, I think that's an interesting idea. I think I might do that. Like, if I ever want to just like sit here and just talk about something that's on my mind, just upload it and then literally just have the comments open. I don't care if it's people literally sitting here roasting this guy. Like, who the fuck is this guy doing for 23 minutes? Like, talking about fucking what? Like, oh, he's talking to himself. Or it could be people like relating, like, hey, man, like, I went through the exact same thing. Like, whatever it is, like, leaving the comments open and really just seeing how people are digesting it. Like, are they taking it bad? Or they're taking it good? Or they're not saying anything at all? Which is like, all of it's fine. Whatever happens. Like, so, I don't know. I'm gonna keep this. We'll call it diary entry number 0. We'll call it 0. Start with 0 and then go from there and see how it goes. Honestly, it's not a bad idea. And then maybe over time I can start uploading more content. Whether it's like I said, things like this, doing game like gameplays, like, and like I said, I'm still kind of debating what I want to do. But honestly, I'm more starting to kind of realize like I'm not gonna focus on the quality, but I'm gonna focus on the quantity. Like obviously I'm gonna still put some thought into the quality of my videos, but at the same time that's not gonna be my focus because what I'm more leaning towards now is more of like a document the journey versus creating the best video every single time. Because if you really focus on that, like at the very least that's how I want to start doing things with my content. Focus on just documenting. Like this is a good example. Like I'm literally like sitting here. You guys are seeing like from like start to finish what I have to say in my head, like the pauses that I make, like because I have to literally sit there and think because like it's a lot. Like mind you, I'm not just sitting here thinking about one thing. It's a literally a million different things. Like I just come that comes and goes in waves or just stops, things like that. But yeah, guys. I think we'll leave it at that. Hope you guys kind of enjoyed watching me kind of rant. Well, not really rant, but like seeing talk to you guys for 25 minutes now. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm actually really interested to see how this goes because it's gonna be a very interesting video. I like when I started this, like in the first 10, 15 minutes, I didn't think I want to do a video, and look what happened now. Like I'm now actually made the idea to kind of make this a video and see how it does really. All right, guys. That's gonna be for me in the recording, and you'll see a lot more of me. That I can promise. Like regardless of all the things on my plate, priorities never change. So